Greetings, Soulswind here, and welcome to Let's Play Infinifactory. This is the Homeward Fleet, and this puzzle name is Crew Quarters. Input rate +8, you can see here, and this is exactly the puzzle that we need to submit, so we're just starting by looking at it, and this is my solution. Solution 1. Okay, it's really bad because I've not optimized everything, but it's not gonna help me much, so we're just gonna take a quick look, let it run through to its end, and I'll talk more about solution 2. I'll just basically show the different portions. So it's pretty much really modular, just handling each part separately. So this is being eviscerated. That, okay, and the second one goes through the same evisceration, but then it's being told to go to the other side where it drops like that for here, which is basically the entrance here. So the floor panels are being sent from below and then sent up like this for welding. So we retreat around here to receive the top layers and then send inwards. So we have these things to like basically allow them to go in there. So these are just like here to ensure that the panels just like come in and wait there. So like if these are early, they just get held. You can see that one, it gets held first before this the floor panel comes in. So that goes there. So this wastes a lot of time. I could have like allowed these to fall lower, so it will save us some time, but it's not gonna be a lot. Like in terms of cycle score, it's not gonna be a lot. It's really like two separate, so like, you know, everything's like handled separately and whatnot. It's just not as good. Like the bottom layer walls are handled somewhere else with the mechanisms required to handle the bottom layer walls, mechanisms required to handle each of these floor panels that are also sent separately depending on where they're supposed to be located at, like that, like this one being welded separately and whatnot. So generally it's not very good. Like some of them are welded to the floors, some of them are welded to the walls. Like I said, you know, solution 1 is always about completing the puzzle and moving on, and solution 2 is when I decided to record this series. I just go through it again, try to improve, and we have our solution 2. Anything else I need to show? Yeah, maybe some of these like holding areas around here. It's really tricky to stand around here because we can easily get pushed by some of these items. And I think this is the final submission right now, so yeah, some of those get to wait over there, and there is the final submission. So we have very good cycle score, which is like above average, way above average, like, you know, the average is here. And we have got average footprint score, so that's okay, so both are really good. But when it comes to block score, something doesn't feel right. Now firstly, it's way below the average. Secondly, it was 630 and now it is 643. So I think it's because I tried to optimize something and then failed to optimize it, so I undid my optimization. Yeah, I optimized it, run it, so I got a better block score without changing footprint and cycle score. I optimized some more, failed to get it to work, undo till the new block score, and then undid it further, like Ctrl Z even further to before the new block score. So we'll have this difference right now, basically 630 and 643. We can easily get 630 just by removing some of these conveyor belts. It'll be fine, we can get that, that's not a question. But I'll see you back here in solution 2. Solution 2, way simpler. And you can see already the blocks is like 240, it's like 600 plus previously, so we have a lot of improvements. Input rate plus 10, so even better cycle score, and we have less weighting over here. There's optimization along all the conveyor belts, which are also in lesser numbers. Previously there were a lot of conveyor belts everywhere, and also a lot of cables. Now you don't really see cables other than at the bottom over here. And I did notice a pattern, so basically it's like bed, 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 and then wall unit, the cabinet unit, and the wash unit. Yeah, the counter and the wash unit. So what happens is this: first set that comes out is the wash unit, the counter, and one bed. Then 2, 3, 4 beds. So we are able to handle the lower floor very, very quickly and early, then handle the beds. So it's like, you know, the beds are all stacked on top of each other, so you can send the beds to the same place where the walls are and then let them weld to that segment where the walls will arrive, and then, you know, like go down there and stack on top. The drilling will be done later, as you can see here. Now let me show instead of tell. Okay, before that, another change I made was to allow the floor panels to be handled separately. So floor panels, you know, just 3 and then move out 3 more, and then as a group of 6 come out to receive the walls. Instead of, like, you know, each of these floor panels being sent separately, some of them using lifters to go from the bottom and then come back out, like drop way below and then come back out again. These all waste time. There is no need to do that. We don't need to have like separate units of delays or welders to handle each of these walls and floors, but rather we can repeatedly use the same welding units. Like, for example, repeat the welders for the beds and the floor panels, you know, like welding them together, instead of, like, you know, some of the floor panels are being welded to the wash unit first and then later to something else. Yeah, as you've seen previously, that's not needed here. So let me just show input rate plus 10 once again. So you can see that this one comes out together with the wash unit. You see, all of them come out together. So already we have got 3 components for the bottom floor, and we've got walls coming out and floor panels. So floor panels are really simple. They just go down there, groups of 3, and then groups of 3, 6 as a set, and then moves out. Over here we've got the walls. So what happens is that this is like a counter, so every 1 2 1 2, so 1 goes there because, like, the further one needs to receive it sooner, so as we don't waste time for the last one to travel further. The further one travels first, the nearer one travels later, so on average lesser time. Also, the rotation helps it save time and footprint, so, like, you know, it travels in a straight line, and when it reaches, it's like 2 blocks earlier, so that one will detect, or rather that one will receive the block and rotate it, so it's like 2 blocks less of cycle time. Now the second one gets sent over here. So this one is different. This one will have to detect, like, you know, 1 2 3 and then 4 5 6, and that's when the 6th panel is here. It says that, okay, so this is my 6th one, and then it's just gonna be pushed over there. So this goes there. As you can see here, the bed comes down here, the wash unit is there, this counter waits here, slightly helped up by the blocker, because, you know, they're not exactly all on the floor, right? Like you can see here, the beds are on the floor, the counter is not on the floor, so this is needed. And there are a lot of sensors over here because we're gonna talk about it really soon. Okay, first let's look at this. So they're here, both are here, so it basically says that, hey, in that case we can go. But no, not really. Why? As long as the bed is here, this unit can go down. As long as the wash unit or the wall, basically it waits for both, as long as both are here based on the timing, then you can go down. So here it's like saying that I'm waiting for the wall because the wall comes in later than the wash unit. This side here, the bed comes in later than the wall unit, therefore it waits for the bed. However, why are there so many sensors? Well, that's because when this thing is falling, this blocker cannot re-extend. We have to ensure that the blocker does not re-extend and push it out to that side. Otherwise, it will be problematic. Therefore, we need extra sensors so that it keeps the blocker unblocked. Over here, it's the same thing, just that, you know, it's like held further. So there's like more space for it to come in here. And most importantly, why is it this far? It's because we need some space on top for the bed to come in here. Because you see, this one, alright, this is like the bed for this side, okay? The bed has to be rotated like that, look. It has to be rotated for this wall. So already, this is very intricate over here. It's like just enough for the rotation over here like that. You see this? Yeah, just enough for the rotation to come out to here. So the wall must be here. It cannot be inside, like cannot be just straight up over here. It's not gonna work. There's not enough space for the handling of the beds and whatnot. So that's not good. And we want this to be a single station, just a single wait time for all the walls to fall in place. As you can see here, the walls fall in place, that other wall falls in place. The floor panel is still waiting to be filled. Okay, this wall falls in place, and of course I want to show this one as well. Like, you know, it comes over here. Never mind. Okay, that's empty. That goes there. So what happens is this, because the counter comes in first, so we can wait for the wall panel and detect the wall panel, and that helps us. Why? Because if this is here already, but there is no wall counter for the top wall, right? The counter, basically. Because once the wall is here, regardless of whether the counter is there, we're just gonna send it forward. And it helps to know that the counter arrives first. So it's the wash unit. It's the same thing. Whether we have a wash unit or not, as long as the wall is here, we send the wall forwards. So you can see here. You see? As long as the wall is here, we send it forward. Don't care about the wash unit. So that's done, and it falls down, and this side of the walls is waiting here. You see, now that the floor unit is ready, it's coming over, and as it waits, look, we only need to wait for about 2, or rather actually 3 blocks of cycle time in terms of falling wall set, or rather just a unit, the room set anyways. Yeah, so it's okay, it's really fine. The next set is already there. It's just gonna fall there and wait safely, no problem with that, and then it's gonna fall further. But as soon as that unit leaves, it's gonna have the blockers extend to hold this for the next set floor unit, so it's okay. Let's wait for this. You see, this one comes into place. Almost there, almost there. Ta-da! Okay, it's now there. Okay, this indicates that floor panel is in place for all of these things to fall and get welded. But once everything falls and get welded, it's gonna move, right? So the sensor is not on the floor panel. It's actually on this one that falls. Okay? I didn't mention this just a while ago because, you know, I didn't think about that. Okay, anyways, yes, this counts the number of blocks that fall. So you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a total of 6 wall panels, or 6 blocks of wall panels. And then it says, okay, cool, we're gonna unblock everything, let everything fall, and we'll send them along. So that's what happens. So it gets sent along to that. Okay, that's where it blocks it. So it gets sent to this side. Okay, and then blocked, because otherwise it's gonna travel here. It's gonna tear through one of the blocks at least for the wall. So this blocker allows it to wait here and not travel towards the submission. And as this retracts, so does the blocker for the eviscerators. They also retract. Now that I see this, maybe if I remove the blocker, can I remove one of the set of eviscerators? You know what? Let me just try it on recording. So we're gonna remove this. I think it might just work. Let's forward that. Wait for them to come in here. Let's see. Maybe it's just gonna work. Yeah, like that. See? So we save one blocker, one conduit, and like 6 of these plus 3 of this plus 1 more. So it's like 9, 10, and then 11, 12. 12 blocks worth, or 11. Okay, it's like 2, 2, 9. So why did I even bother counting? 11. Why? What is it? 11, 1, 2. Oh, okay, because it's side by side. So not another 2 here. 9 plus 2, 11. Yeah. So that would work too. So instead of like, you know, having a blocker like what I explained, the idea was to prevent it from moving so that it can retract. But how about make use of the time it takes to retract to tear through one more side of the walls and then have this just move along, and that will work too. And in fact, we save more blocks. This one too, this one I really want to improve it, but I really have no idea how to do that. Yeah, way more compact and way more clean, right? Compact, concise, efficient. We got 6 more. There, goes there. So maybe now it's good time to show the floor panel like that. So how they're prepared like this, way easier compared to previously, right? Just very, very neat, just like that. So it waits here as a unit for the floor panel and then moves along and then just goes in there. Meanwhile, the next unit is being prepared. This one just waits over there. Again, this is a lot of waiting time. I would have hoped to have slightly lesser waiting time. I mean, like, you know, the floor panel should not need to wait so long at all. You know, this one plus actually one more for all of these to fall down. So maybe I could have done something to improve that even further, but I have no idea how to do so. Because we do have to wait for this to arrive. Like, you know, the wall is here and the bed just doesn't arrive sooner. We've got a good improvement in the cycle score, 180 or 178. A lot of improvements in the footprint also. Now we're at way above the average. The block score is like 1/3 of the previous. There's a lot of improvements and I'm really happy with what I've built over here. This is really good. I tried to optimize it a little bit, input rate of +11, but it just doesn't work because over here it gets messed up. They wait too long, it gets welded to the next set and the whole thing doesn't move forward anymore. I mean, like, this is good enough for me. So let me know if this can be improved further, like especially this part where, you know, maybe the first bed comes over here and this number 2 then detects and send it over to this side. Like, you know, swap it around. Number 1 goes here, number 2 goes there. Maybe that would have worked. But I'm not gonna make that change. It's fine. We've got the submission of the score and that's it. So yeah. Do we look at the unit or do we look at our friend over here? Alright, anyway, so that's it for this episode. I'll see you next episode. That's all I have for now. Have a nice day.